Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Disney Antiquities and Collectibles with my co-host, the amazing Matt McKim. Matty, happy Sunday. How you doing, my
Hello,
friend?
hello. Happy Sunday. How are you?
Good,
Are
good.
you ready for this?
I'm
This is going to be
excited.
a fun one.
I've got friends in Southern California that are so excited about Martha because her being from LA, and you got Tim from LA. It's going to be exciting. For
Yes.
those that are just going to be joining us, Martha Blanding, a little background before we get into it. The first Black tour guide, first Black female in management, first Black buyer in merchandise, first female to retire from Disneyland after 50 years, and the first Black Disney Parks employee to become a Disney legend. Well deserved.
Yes.
Actually, extremely well deserved. I'm so excited. And you've
Lovely
got some
lady.
amazing stories to share as well. I'm looking forward to that one as well too.
Yeah. What a
So
lovely lady. She
yeah,
took such
yeah,
good care of my folks. And then when I was involved with her, she took great care of me too.
yeah.
And I've known
Well,
Tim from entertainment at Disneyland since the mid 80s. So
wow.
two people I've known for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, without further ado, let's bring them on, everybody. Let's
Yes.
welcome Martha Blanding and her author, Tim O'Day. How you two doing
Yeah.
today?
Hello, hello.
How you guys
Welcome to the
doing?
podcast.
We're good.
You.
Um, first question, when you guys thought about starting to do this book, Groundbreaking Magic, which comes out this Tuesday, everybody, Groundbreaking Magic. When you guys got together and started talking about this book, what did you want to go over? What did you want to encapsulate when you started, talking about this book and writing about it?
Martha B.
Either
Actually,
one of you. Either one of you.
actually, Tim and I are co-authors on the book.
Yeah.
It, we, I, a lot of people were encouraging me to write a book because of my experiences at Disneyland and with
Yeah.
the Disney company, period. When I first started working there, the park was just 16 years old.
Yeah.
And there were Black cast members there, but not a lot. Okay. And there were many of the experiences that I had were first time experience from somebody Black.
Oh.
So I had a story to tell.
Yeah.
But I'm not a writer. I knew that I needed help.
Yeah.
And another good friend of ours, Lorraine Santoli, was also encouraging me to write the book and offered to help me. But Lorraine lives in New York.
Okay.
And so thinking about the book, and then I called Tim and we were talking, and the thing is that he was here because once we started working on this book, we spent many hours on the phone and on the Zoom together talking about my different experiences, talking about my family, talking about challenges that I had, good or bad, and putting everything together. So I knew what Tim was capable of, and I knew that he had written many books and that he is a great author. And I'm saying all these things not with him there, but Tim, don't get the big head, okay? But he's world-renowned artist, and he is. We actually work together on events because in order for him to do a merchandise event at Disneyland, he had to partner with me. I was the person that all of them, anybody that wanted to do something at Disneyland as far as an event, merchandise event was concerned, I was that person. Mm-hmm. So we did many things together. So we started talking, then even Wendy left from Walt Disney Publishing, who Wendy and I go way back because at one time in my career, I was a buyer and I was the book buyer for the park for many years. And so Wendy was my rep that would come and see me. And then, of course, Wendy just progressed on with Walt Disney Publishing. But she encouraged me. All of the reps that I dealt with encouraged me to write a book. And so Tim and I did. We got together and we put this book together.
So if I can interject, the way Martha was describing how I learned all about her background, she has a phrase for that. What's that phrase, Martha?
You can say it.
You say it better than I do. Go ahead.
You go ahead. Tim, like I said, since we wrote the book together, he thinks he knows me. Okay, so he tries to get all in my business. All right, so he is a brother from another mother, kind of a thing. And then we go from there. It's like,
see, that's funny because you get to a point where you work with somebody so closely, you're
Right.
finishing each other's sentences, and you're,
right.
was there ever a time when you guys just said, I need a break from you? Like Matt will go, you know what? I love you, little brother. I need a break today. Can I just have a break? Or were you guys just always cohesive?
Yeah, Vince,
Yeah,
that's actually right now.
Usually I would say to him, he would want to know, well, what you doing? Where you going? I said, stay out of my business. And then I would tell him, here's a quarter. Why don't you go get some ice cream?
And you guys understand that we did over 60 hours of recorded interviews together.
Yeah.
And invariably, when I would call Martha, or actually she would call me, and I'd say hello, and her reply was, "Who is this?" And then the craziness would ensue for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'd get into business.
I like
Yeah, that's the way it would roll. It was about 20 minutes of chaos, and then we'd get into the
She was just telling you not to get too comfortable, Tim.
often.
Thank you, Matt.
She's the one in charge. Don't forget that.
Thank you, Matt.
But the way I like to describe this is this way. My writing is just the wrapping paper, and Martha's story is the Christmas present, right?
Yep, that's great.
And co-authors, all that stuff. But Martha drove this. This is Martha's story.
Yeah.
And so we pulled as much vernacular from Martha as possible, because all of us, and you guys know this, going back and looking at your Zooms and things like that of your live streams, none of us talk as we think we do. We think we're a lot more eloquent than we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, especially from an audio perspective, if we go back and listen to ourselves, most of us sound like babbling idiots.
It happens.
So I would just let Martha talk and then just glean the certain phrases, certain words, and things like that. And Martha has a remarkable story. And as I've told her many, many times, my favorite part of the book is actually before she starts at Disneyland. Yeah, because her family has a great story. And so if you are a fan of U.S. history, if you're a fan of, societal changes and things like that, you'll love the book. If you're a Disney fan, you'll love the book. And I know, Matt, there are certain things described in the book that you will just go, oh my gosh, I remember that. Oh my gosh. Because describing a lot of backstage things.
Yes.
Just the sensory overload of certain areas, you will just know, been there, done that.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this, Martha and Tim. I mean, I'm really looking forward to reading this book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt, when Tim and I first started writing the book, I said to him, I'm going to tell you something. And I said, you're going to learn a lot about Black history. And with us working on this book together, because when I was going to school, my history books was all about white history. We all know all about it, but Black history or white history, it is all history. But they didn't say a lot about Black history, Hispanic history, and any other history. So, and things are, have been coming out, but they're really coming out now. So I told him that he would learn a lot about Black history. And did you, Tim?
I did, because, Black history is American history, and we're all Americans. So we all share in this, right?
Yeah. It's a different perspective.
Yeah. But it's not siloed. It's not like they have this history, you have this history. It's all this, right?
Right.
And one depends on the other, right? So, in writing about Martha and her family, they grew up a couple blocks from Central Avenue, Martha B.
Right.
Okay.
And Central Avenue was the home of West Coast jazz in Los Angeles. Like every major black entertainer played Central Avenue. Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and Ella Fitzgerald, and so forth. People forget about all of that. And one thing that Martha brought up in the book that I was just rereading the other day is, Watts and Compton has this great history, the Watts Towers, all of that stuff. And yet for the last 50, 60 years, it's been defined by the Watts riots.
Oh,
that's wholly unfair,
a negative. Yeah.
So, it was eye-opening on many levels. And as Martha describes in the book, there's descriptions of many Easter holiday celebrations, Christmas, 4th of July. And it's like, oh my God, we're all the same. Just stop the stupidity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, it was a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's one thing sorry, Matt. That's one thing I wanted to touch on the most is your upbringing and what brought you to that. You said the story or your speech at D23, how you had a counselor that you and your mother went to go see who said that you weren't going to make it in corporate America.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a motivating factor throughout some of your life? Was that what drove you to want to do more, Martha?
You know what? I tell some people, before you criticize, step in my shoes for a day.
Yeah.
Because in some cases, it wasn't not just me, but any other Black person or any other person of color.
Yeah.
We had challenges every single day.
Yeah.
Now, in that case, that was my high school counselor. We were getting ready to graduate, and he talked to all the students and their parents, and it was time for him to talk to me and my mother. And he told me that I needed to learn how to do something with my hands because I'd never make it in corporate America. But she told something. Little did he know, I already knew how to do something with my hands. I'm a fantastic seamstress.
Wow.
I made my clothes for my sister and I from junior, and I am a self-taught seamstress.
Oh, self-taught.
I took one sewing class, and
wow.
I made my clothes. I made clothes for my sister and I from junior high school to this day.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Matt, sometimes for the Christmas candlelight ceremony.
Yes.
The coats and jackets that I had on, I made.
Really? I had no clue.
Yes.
I was actually admiring one in a photograph. I was researching some things, and I'm sure you made it. It was a red coat.
It's so.
Wow.
Saying this to say this, what he did, he pissed my mother and I off. It upset me. Okay.
Sure.
Because in my mind, I wanted to be an elementary school teacher. That was what I was getting myself ready for.
Yeah.
Instead of him saying something to encourage me to do better and to go do this and you need to do that, he wanted me to step down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that wasn't me. And like my mother said, you don't let other people determine your future.
No.
That's your job.
Right.
And I didn't. And I didn't let anybody determine my future. I did what I wanted to do, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Now, Martha, before we came on, you were talking about your parents and your brothers and your sister, but you were mentioning what was instilled within you from your parents. And actually, maybe you should mention that because, Vince, your question about this counselor's opinion, you were already instilled by what your folks were telling you and making you strong and preparing you for the future. And share that with people because, that's how you could counter in your own mind without saying anything to this counselor, your preparation for, no, I'm not going to listen to that.
My mother and father was 4 of us. I'm a twin and I have 2 brothers. And they raised us to judge people not by the color of their skin, but you judge them by them, by what they say and their attitude. They
Absolutely.
also raised us not to be afraid of anybody. And so I'm not afraid of anybody. Plus, I had two huge brothers, and my dad was a big man also.
Okay.
I okay, and I say this funny. I've never really have the men that I dated. We never got into a physical tough or anything. But sometimes you disagree. Boyfriend and girl
Yeah.
disagree. And I had one boyfriend to tell me, he said, "You're not afraid of me." I said, "No, I'm not afraid of you. I got two huge brothers." So, and not that if you do anything, they'll be here, but I can handle it. No, I'm not afraid of you. So
Yeah.
they taught us not to be afraid,
Yeah.
to be comfortable. And so I wasn't afraid. I was comfortable. And
Sure.
one thing that you said to me, no, that Vince said to me, how did I, with the different people that I dealt with in my career, how did I do that? Were they with the celebrities? Were it just a normal person or what? Well, celebrities. I mean, I had my favorite celebrities that I really liked and I wanted to really meet. And then you have your other celebrities. So, but then again, working at Disney, I had to keep that Disney professionalism and I had to be professional, period. Okay.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, hold on, Martha. Martha, you're retired, so go ahead and dish.
You can tell the truth now.
you want your quarter now or later? But when you meet someone like Cary Grant and Mark Hudson were one of my two favorites, and James Earl Jones. And so in my head, when I meet them, and many of the other cast members that are listening to this will understand what I'm saying. In my head, you're thinking, "Oh my God, my hero! I love him. He's wonderful." But looking at them, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
What can I do to help you? It'd be really nice. So I was excited inside and excited outside, but more of a professional manner,
Yes.
So,
well, at least the nice thing about meeting celebrities that actually turn out well is that doesn't always happen. And you have this vision in your head, and then when you meet them, sometimes they disappoint you. So that's nice that those three did not disappoint you.
No, and you know what, man? And I consider myself very lucky because with all of the Disney celebrities and all of the Hollywood celebrities, I got along with all of them. And normally in that world, it's not the celebrity, it's the managers. Sometimes they're a problem. But you know what? It was very rare that I didn't get along with them either. I got along with them. So I mean, okay, your dad. And I loved your dad, and I loved working with him. And when your mother and father came to Disneyland to do events for me, they were wonderful. And the thing is that I like to treat people the way I want to be treated.
Absolutely.
So I always thought, this is my home, and I want you to be comfortable in my home at work. And it's interesting because this is the honest to God truth. None of them ever told me no when I asked them to do an event. They always said yes. Or they would say, "Martha, let me look at my schedule. I got to go change something. But yes, I will." Which I consider myself quite lucky, to be that type of person that people would say yes, no matter what. They would say yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So maybe I should tell this little story now. This is probably a good time to do so because you mentioned my parents. So my mom, as I told you, said to say hello to you. And she's 97 now. But a week ago, whatever it was, Dean Balladad was here at the house and he was showing us your acceptance speech. And so my mom is watching the acceptance speech. And when it was all over, I turned to look at her and she had a little tear in her eye. It was a beautiful speech that you gave, but it really touched her too. Whoops.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
See?
It really touched her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. See, and you know what? I had a lot of people say, and we even talked about this the other day, that you gave the best speech by far at D23. And everybody, a lot of people were in tears and a lot of people were crying because it it was emotional. It was genuine. It was real.
Genuine.
Sometimes people
Absolutely.
do acceptances and
If
the Hollywood stars. Go ahead, Tim.
if I can interject one thing about Martha's acceptance speech, she
Uh-huh.
ran it by me, right?
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
shared it with me, and she said, "What do you think?" And I just want to clear this up because I helped write her book. Some people assumed I wrote her speech. That is
Yeah.
1,000% not true.
Yeah.
I didn't touch it except to add a comma.
Yeah.
My big contribution was a comma, but everything else was. And I read this and I went, "Why the hell did I write the book? She could have written the book. Got a job."
That's funny.
No, that's that acceptance speech, and I agree with both of you.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
knocked
It was everybody I've talked to has just said it was incredible.
Right.
I wanted to ask, because you've mentioned this lady before, but not a lot of people know. Can you talk about Lois Fulmer,
Oh,
Martha?
Lois, we're very good friends, and Lois she's 93 years old,
Yeah.
and when I became a buyer, and you start as a buyer trainee, they put you with another buyer to train you. Now, I had no buying experience whatsoever. Like I said, I was going to school to become a school teacher.
Yeah.
And so I had no experience whatsoever. So they put me with two buyers before they put me with Lois. And the two buyers before her, prior to her, they were good buyers, but they were not teachers. And so their teaching abilities was not up to. So I almost lost my job. Okay.
Wow.
So my director had a meeting with me, and he told me that for the summer that I had to prove myself. And by the end of the summer, if I hadn't, then then I'll have to find me a new job.
Wow.
So they decided to put me with Lois for her to train me and work with me. So I got with Lois, and the first thing she said, "Martha, I want you to turn your desk around so that I can see you and you can see me. So if you have any questions, all you have to do is look up and ask me the question.
Oh,
And if
wow.
I have any questions, I can ask you, so that we are able to see each other, so that we could communicate." And I have to tell you, with the other two buyers I had, my office faced the wall. Okay. There was a big difference. And so she explained things, but she allowed me to do things also. So she told me, this is what you need to do when you're meeting with a vendor. Okay. And then when they would come in, she would be there also in the room with me, but she let me handle it. And then if there was something wrong after they left, then she would discuss it with me. And she just explained things to me so clearly, and I caught on fast. She didn't care if I asked her the same questions over and over again. To her, it was important that I understood it, and I understood what to do. And there was a huge, huge difference, And at the end of the summer, my boss called us in for a meeting. And by the way, I was not only doing my buying duties, but I was also one of the supervisors in the emporium. So I was burning the candle at both ends. And the emporium is the largest shop at Disneyland and the busiest shop at Disneyland.
Yes.
So I was burning the candles at both ends. And so there were many a times I was just so exhausted, but I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do because I wanted to. So at the end of the summer, my boss called us in and he said, "I don't know what to say about you." He says, "You did a 360 turn to the positive." Okay. Not to you're doing the same, you're doing it wrong again.
Yeah.
To the positive. And he says, "And I'm totally impressed with you. I'm amazed at your accomplishments." And the reward for that was they had the candy show in New Orleans. So they let me go with her to New Orleans to the candy show. So that was my first experience of a candy show. And boy, was it wow.
And what a better place than New Orleans. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she herself is an amazing woman, and we have remained friends, very close friends till this day. And
Oh,
if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
wow. That's amazing. Well, she was really a teacher and a mentor, though. The
Yes,
others
she
were
was.
not. Yeah.
And I must say this, she was an ally. She doesn't look like me, but it didn't matter. And we
No.
got along together. We got along great.
Oh,
Now,
that's great.
if I can interject, there's a story in there that's in the book, and we'll share a little bit. But Martha was capable of doing things that nobody else would be able to do. And Martha, why don't you tell the Winnie the Pooh story?
The Winnie the Pooh story.
Yeah.
When we did when we changed the gallery into the.
No. When you were working in the Emporium and the Poohs went missing.
Oh yes. Yes. This was grad night. We would have the grad nights at Disneyland, and supervisor and me in the Emporium. We had to work, and so the Emporium was structured at that time. It's not like that anymore. Where it had our office was in the balcony.
Yes.
So we could look out and see the store, see everything in the store, the whole store. We could look, see the cast members and everything. Okay. So this was kind of towards the end of the evening of this particular grad night. And the Winnie the Pooh, had the cap on it. And the kids, they loved the Winnie the Pooh with the cap on it. So we had a beautiful display right by the door of Winnie the Pooh's. And so nice display. I went out, came back in, looked over at my display, and it was barely any Winnie the Pooh's on the display. So I'm thinking, I don't see a line of people paying for Winnie the Pooh's.
Uh-oh.
So I'm looking, and I kind of look outside, and I see all these Winnie the Pooh's.
Uh-oh.
So I walk downstairs. I check myself out, make sure that I got that business look and everything. So I walked upstairs to the town square, all these kids with Winnie the Pooh's, and I said, "Excuse me." And I introduced myself, told them who I was, and I said, "I had a real nice display of Winnie the Pooh's just a little while ago, but I don't have one now." And so I tell you what, I'm going to go backstage for just a minute. And when I come back out, I want to see my Pooh's back in my store. And I said, if they're not in the store, then you're going to have to deal with me, and you don't want to deal with me. Then you're going to have to deal with security, and this is before you deal with your parents, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to step off stage, and I'll be back in a little while. So I did. I stepped off stage. And then I came back in. All my Poohs were back.
Wow. Oh, that's great. That's great. Take charge.
Yeah.
They brought them
See,
back.
the character. It's who you are. It's how you were raised. It's how we were raised in general.
Right.
It was a respect thing.
Right.
And again, guys, real quick, just to interject, Tuesday, October 1st, their book, Groundbreaking Magic, will be out. And where are you guys going to be over the next couple weeks? Are you guys going to be anywhere in particular doing signings, things like that?
Well, we have something that we're doing at Disneyland Resort internally on Tuesday. We thought it was kind of appropriate since Martha's career started at Disneyland to do it for the cast members at the park. And there's some other signings coming up that are being planned right now, and it's all kind of quickly falling into place. So we don't really have any other signings we can talk about at the moment, specifics. But yes, we're going to be busy all through October and all through November. I'd say all the way through the end of February. So
excellent.
Things are falling into place. And I don't want to give a subtle plug to the book.
Please. No,
Great,
and this is your time. This is absolutely your time. We wanted to
plug to the book in 3D.
There you go.
Come on, in 3D. There you go.
There you go. In 3D.
I love it.
There you go, guys.
Now in stereo.
Now in stereo. Exactly. No,
and then yesterday we had an amazing day because we were at Disneyland, and we did signings at the Disneyana shop at Disneyland. at the Wonderground Gallery at Downtown Disney, and an off the page at Disney's California Adventure.
That's
So
amazing.
we were there all day yesterday, and it was interesting because that's what I did. I was in charge of merchandise special events, and
Now you're on the other side of the table.
I was on the other side, and I was teasing Michelle Harker and Elaine Seha. They did an amazing job. I'm so proud of them. When I was getting ready to leave, they took me to my car, and I told them, I said, I am so proud of you guys. And I said, you did exactly what I taught you and more, you know.
Yeah.
And you guys, you ladies were amazing. I was watching you like a hawk too, because if you got it messed up, I was going to kind of have a little talk with you and stuff. But they were wonderful. They did a great job. And even Kathy Jensen, who worked with me first when I first started special events, she was my handler. So she took care of me, which I'm not. It's kind of hard to handle me, but she
Look at him.
she did it. So I was excited because I had all my girls. All my girls were with me. I was missing one, Sonia. She just moved to Portuguese, but I had all my girls with me for the event, and they were in charge, not me.
Great.
And they did an amazing job.
Real quickly, I want to step in real quick. Leslie Smith, who, you know, she's an amazing. I was lucky enough to meet her at the studios one day, and it says, Martha, the only time I've met you, I was part of the Kiss Goodnight book signing team, along with Floyd, Adrian, and Wendy at the D23 Expo. I did the music notation and in the book, and even though I am not a celebrity, you treated me as if I was, and it felt wonderful. Thank you. You made me feel important. Leslie Smith. And so again, it goes to the character, like what I talk about with Matt and his dad. Matt's dad treated everybody the same, and you did the same. You know, you treated everybody by who they were, not the content, not what you saw, but who they were. And it just goes back to the character of who you are. So that's amazing. That's a tribute to you and the people and all they have to say about you.
Hey,
Tim, you were going to say something?
Vince,
Thank you, Leslie.
If I can jump in, there was something that happened yesterday that speaks to that. So it was a long day yesterday. It was really fun, and as Martha said, kudos to the merchandise team at Disneyland. It ran like clockwork, and as usual, they were fantastic. But
three different spots too.
What's
location that? And 3 different locations. That's a lot.
Yeah. And so we get to off the page, and I'm next to Martha, and we're signing books and everything. And this Japanese family comes up, and the 2 little girls are adorable, and they have their faces painted. And what happened after that, Martha B?
The oldest one walked up to me. She had the book. She put it on the table, and she came up real close to me, and she said, "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." And I said, "What?" I said, "What did you say?" She said, "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Yes." And so we chatted just a little bit. And then I told her, I said, "I'm going to give you my email address. And if you haven't," and her mother was standing behind her, and I asked her mother to step up, and her mother didn't speak very good English, but the father did. And so, you careful with your kids. You don't want, And so I asked him if it was okay. And so he said yes. And so I told her, I said, "I'm going to give you my email address. And if you have any questions about your career, even now, I want you to write me and tell me." And so she said, "Okay." And I signed her book, and then we took a picture. But, that's the second little girl that has said that to me. And the other one was a white girl. So I am feel very honored. Very, very honored. Yes.
See, and that just goes to show.
That's going to require that Martha gets her face painted.
You see what I'm saying? She had her face painted, and she was really cute, her and her sister. So that's what he's talking about. But see what I'm saying?
No respect, right?
Not
Martha, I wanted to ask, did all this time, so when you started in 1971, did you ever think to keep a journal. Did you keep journals of your journey of everything that happened? Were you thinking that far ahead that you kept a journal?
No, I have a good memory.
Okay.
I really have a good memory. And, to that, Vince, when Tim and I were writing the book, it was really important to us that we made sure what went in that book was the truth. And so I would go back and check myself. And he would also check on things. He's very detailed. And we would both go back and check. And then when there was a situation that I wasn't for sure of, I was able to reach out to that person that had the situation for them and ask them questions. And there were a couple of people that I sent them that part of the chapter so that they could read it to make sure that it was correct.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Now,
I'm not a writer. So me writing a book, I mean, I truly stepped out of my comfort zone. Okay. So
let me interject on something though. Martha has a memory like, the proverbial phrase goes, like an elephant. It is lock solid.
Yeah.
But what would happen is when we did the interviews, we more or less did them in chronological order. Okay. And so we would do the interview. I would have it transcribed. Even if it's transcribed, you have to go in and clean it up and do all that stuff. So it's very labor intensive and it takes a while. So we'd get like maybe, I don't know, six recording sessions in. And then Martha, in the middle of like the 8th one, Martha would go, hey, I remember a story, and that story would go back like 4 episodes. As you transcribe, then I have to make a note like this goes here. That became a big jigsaw puzzle. It's a great memory, but sometimes it's not a memory that serves itself well in a timely fashion.
But you had a job, and that was your job.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, that was
her job. It was your job.
Yes.
Yeah, Martha's a talent. Martha's a talent. She just has to remember the stories. You got to put them together.
I reminded everybody yesterday, it's Martha's world. We just live in it.
Yeah, it's Martha's world. We're just renting a space in it. Real quickly, Don Hahn is on and he's watching, and he said one of the best days I've ever had at Disneyland was at a book signing that Martha hosted, and the lunch after where I laughed more than I ever have in my life. So that's Don Hahn, Martha.
I love my Don Hahn, and we laughed so hard that people were going, what are you laughing at? They wanted to come over to our table and join us. It's like, no.
Oh my, all these people that you've gotten to know and you just call friends. Well, they're more like family, I mean, do you guys get together? Do you guys find time to get together? I mean, I know you've been busy, but do you guys get together often? Do you get to see your friends?
Everybody is, like you said, everybody is busy working or doing their own with their family. And I'm retired and with my family. So no, we don't get to see each other all the time. But when we do, we just pick up where we left off and we just keep going, and it's just nice to see them. And then I'm still dealing with this one over here. So just a little,
I was telling somebody yesterday about when Martha and I finally got the manuscript done.
Yeah.
And in any book that you do, I don't care who it is writing the book.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you're like, I'm over this. And you get across the finish line, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd say like last November, Martha and I were like, we're both over this. We just got across the finish line. And we kept referring to the manuscript as that damn book. And Tracy would say to me, can we go out tonight? We can't go out tonight. I got to work on that damn book. Same thing would happen to Mary and Martha. Mary would say to Martha, we got to do something. I got to work on that damn book. So Mary wanted to come over for Christmas, and we're there. And I think it was Tracy's idea, honestly. I wanted to give Martha a copy of the manuscript because it's one thing to have the book online, in digital form, but to have it in hand is something entirely different.
Yeah.
So I went over to FedEx and I had it copied and bound and all of that stuff. And Tracy came up with the idea of putting a false cover on it. The false cover was That Damn Book by Mark.
That's great. And I'm sure you have that in your library, right, Martha?
It's on the coffee table in the living room.
There you go. There you go. I love that. I love it.
Now that, I guess essentially that was the original name of the book.
Yes.
That damn book. We're doing a presentation for Matt's dad, Sam, in November at the Bowers Museum, and we were joking aside because we were passing out flyers at D23, and Matt said, you know what it should be when you walk up to people. Who the hell is Sam McKim?
Okay, so let me stop you there. If there's any Disney fan who doesn't know Sam McKim,
That's correct.
they need to turn in their Disney fan card.
That's right.
You're fine. But it is funny. I told Vince, I said, okay, I'm going to take you over to WDI. We'll have lunch there, whatever. We'll go into the store. And I said, and on the way over, we'll stop 10 people and we'll ask them, and these will be Imagineers, right? I said, we'll ask them, excuse me, do you know who Sam McKim is? I said, Vince, I bet you maybe one out of those 10 will be able to tell you who Sam McKim is. I said, he's been gone for 20 years and he's been retired since 87. So, times move on and things change. And you can even say, unfortunately, and I've heard stories about Walt Disney and asking cast members, who was Walt Disney? Or here's a photograph, you know who this is.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Well, if I can interject something here, I would say that I hate the word asset is really wrong, but I'm going to use it anyway. But the Disney legends like your dad, Matt, and Martha, and people like that, they are assets to a company that no other company on the planet has.
Yes.
And we do need to remind people of who these great people are, because they made the foundation that everything else rests upon. And I'm not saying you have to live in the past. That that's not conducive. That's not healthy. But you need to know where you've been, the old cliche, to know where you're going.
Sure.
And everything's built upon everything. It's like, and Matt, you can dispel this or not. I was kind of going over things on the internet the other day, just killing time, and somebody put a picture of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland and the tattered window.
Oh yes.
And I'm like, is that really a tribute to Sam or not? I'm not sure, but cool if it is.
Yeah. I had never heard that story. I never knew of that. A little tribute to my dad up there with the tattered drapes. But someone had said that they had talked to Marty Sklar about it. So I never heard Marty ever mention it. Now, that doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows?
But those kind of details are those little tributes like the Herbie Ryman Christmas tree and things like that.
Yes.
That, it all builds on the lore and legacy of Disney, and it's a good thing. So it's always good to remind today's generation of who came before.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I wanted to know as well, from conceptualize from the start of the book to finish of the book, what was that timeline? How long did it actually take?
Martha, what was it? How old was I? Like 6 when we started?
Because from the first word to the end, it was about 5 years.
5 years. Wow. Labor of love, though.
Yeah, that's incredible. That is incredible. Martha, a little background. Tell us about Pulse. I love hearing about this, and I've only heard so much about it. But tell me about Pulse. You were one of the co-founders.
Yes, Disney started the whole thing about the different diversity groups. Right?
Yeah.
So Pulse wasn't the only one. There were others also. Pulse originally it first started in Walt Disney World. And then it came to Disneyland. But you had to have your people to start it. So myself, my friend Frida, and another cast member, Mark Saunders, we actually, Mark and Frida got together first to work on putting a diversity group together for Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then they felt that they needed someone that had a voice to be a part of it also. And so Frida suggested that they reach out to me. And so they did. And so the three of us together, we worked and got the group together. So PULSE stand for People United to Learn, Serve, and Excel. That's what it stands for. So, you know, Sam, you know how Disney, I'm sorry, I'm calling your father's name. Matt,
okay.
I'm sorry. Matt, you know how Disney do their stories about the different attractions, about the different themes and everything.
Yes.
And they really work hard at doing their homework to make sure that things are right. But sometimes they didn't necessarily go to the right person or right area to make sure they were right. And that's okay. But with these diversity groups, they were able to go to these different areas. There's one, OLA for Hispanic, PULSE for Blacks, and Compass was for the Asian Americans, you know, and so on and so forth. So we developed PULSE because it gave our Black cast members, and I can speak, I'm only speaking for Disneyland, I'm not speaking for Walt Disney World, but they gave the cast members a place to go to, number one, they had someone that they could talk to, okay? It's a place that the company itself could come to and ask us questions about our culture and about things and the different Disney stories that related to us, that if they're correct or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also gave our merchandise areas when they were creating things and they created something around our Black culture, or they created something that they may think it looks good, but that is good, but for us, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, they wanted to create another character to represent the Pin World. Okay. So what they created, this little black, like a hockey putt that had arms and legs on it, and then the eyes and the lips. The eyes were white, the lips were white. No, it looked like a little Sambo. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah.
They brought it to us for us to look at, and we told them, you can't do that. You can't bring that into the park,
You know,
because we'd have a lot of problems. So they took it out.
There's a flip side story to that Martha tells in the book about the fleur de lis. The symbol. Martha, talk about that.
You know, and that was the reason why I talk about it, but I talked about it with my friend Frida, because that was something that took place after I retired. You know? So the fleur de lis, I don't want to talk about that, because I don't want to explain it wrong. Okay. But it has something to do with what did Frida say? What did Frida say, Tim?
Well, it was perceived to be a negative symbol.
Yeah.
And so because of PULSE, because of the resource of PULSE, they said, no. We have members here from New Orleans, from Louisiana. No, this is not a symbol that's wrong.
Yeah.
This is our symbol of New Orleans. Please, everywhere. This is very positive.
Okay.
So they were hesitating on using a fleur de lis anywhere because they perceive, the Disney designers perceived, that it would be bad, and they're like, no. So it was a situation where PULSE was very positive. And going, no, this is all good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the chair for PULSE was from New Orleans.
Okay.
So he was able to give them more information. Yeah. So we sometimes they try to do things so right is wrong, but it's
Yeah.
wrong only because they're not asking the right person.
Right.
So
Right.
we had opportunities where we were able to correct some things before they went out into the world,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a good thing. And so
Yeah.
we're there for that. And then for the cast members, we tell them, sometimes you get into a situation and you don't know what to do. And we explain to them, I can't fight your battles, but we can direct you in the right direction.
Mm.
And so you be there for that, to let them know you're not alone.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
have someone to talk to. But I know that our Pride and Ola and Compass, they all did the same thing,
Yeah.
with any of with their cultures and with their,
Yeah.
to make sure that you feel that you're not alone and that there's somebody there to listen and there's someone there to help you work wise, to do some networking. And you may be in one area, but you want to venture out to another area and you need someone to talk to. In
Yeah.
the post group, there are a lot of people from a lot of different divisions that you could talk to,
Yes.
to do
Yes.
things. So
That's great. A balanced conversation.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm still, even though I'm retired, I'm still involved in Pulse because
Oh.
it's really my heart. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
They allow me to do that, and I so appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So, Vince and Matt, you were talking earlier about Martha's legend speech.
Yes.
And watching the speech there in the Honda Center, I couldn't help but think back that Martha's connection with Disney actually extends way back to her childhood. A little
Okay.
something that nobody knows, that there is a direct connection between Martha's childhood and her later career at Disney.
Really?
So, you'll have to read the book, but her parents had moved out here at the tail end of the Great Depression, moved out to LA, got jobs. And one of the jobs that they got was with the Doheny family, Doheny Institute, Doheny Beach, Doheny Boulevard.
Yeah.
And so the Doheny Mansion is in downtown LA. And Martha and Mary used to go ride their bicycles. They were very fondly looked after by Estelle Doheny.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
Doheny loved the Blanding kids, and Martha would ride their tricycles in basically her ballroom basement, right?
Oh.
And Doheny Mansion was later used as the ambassador, the embassy, I should say, the embassy of the country of Genovia and the Princess Diaries.
Oh. Wow.
So that's Martha's connection that started way back. So it's a big arch that goes. And look, and that has a connection to Disney royalty, the Princess Diaries, and now we're talking to Disney royalty, Disney legend. So big arch.
Full circle. Full circle.
As a matter of fact, Estelle named my sister and I Mary and Martha.
Really?
Gave us our first name, and then my mother and father gave us our middle name. Yeah. Okay. She named us Mary and Martha.
Well, that shows there was some closeness there. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I wanted to ask, and I hope I'm not giving too much away with the book. Martha, what is your very first memory of Disney? As a child, as a teenager, you and your sister, you're very close. What's your first memory of Disney, and what kind of motivated you that way, and wanted you to go that way in that direction?
Well, okay, I have to be honest. Disney wasn't a place that I desired to work at. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but when we were young, we didn't. My parents didn't have a lot of money. Okay, we were not rich. But when our relatives would come out to visit, and Mama and Daddy would get us all together. And of course, everybody who came out here wanted to go to Disneyland.
Sure.
So they would sometimes not tell us that we're going to Disneyland, and they would put us all in the cars with our cousins, and we'd be on our way to Anaheim and not understanding that Disneyland is located in Orange County in Anaheim. And then we would take that road, drive to Disneyland, and then we get to a certain point and we see the Matterhorn Mountain. We're going to Disneyland. So we would go and have a good time. So we didn't go a lot, but we did go to Disneyland and enjoy it and have a good time. And it was usually with our relatives for when they came out to visit
Yeah.
that we would go. So we didn't just go as a family, just because
Okay.
it was 6 of us with my daddy and my mother and the 4 kids, but we would go when we had company. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
have a good
Okay.
time. So, and we loved going to Disneyland. We had a great time. We
Really?
enjoyed it, but we didn't go a lot because we couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those
I
are
get
good memories with family too, extended family.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. I remember going with cousins, and
Yes.
there's some good memories there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and there's
So
one connection in the book, though, that what would you do every afternoon around 5 o'clock, Martha, you and Mary? What would you watch on TV?
Well, of course, like everybody else, the Mickey Mouse Club.
And then jump forward, who did you used to work with?
The Musketeers.
there you go. Wow. Was that kind of surreal that it was brought to life for you?
Boy, that Lorraine Santoli, let me tell you, she was pretty much there. She managed the Musketeers for years, and things that she did. Then she was getting ready to move to go to live in New York.
Yeah.
So she had to kind of give that responsibility to somebody else. And she, with the things that I had done with them, she decided that I'm the one.
Oh.
And so she introduced me to the Musketeers, and we were getting ready for the Disneyland convention. You remember that, Matt?
Oh yeah.
Getting ready for the Disneyland convention. And so she says, okay, Martha, you got to get to know them. So come on, let's go do what we have to do. So I got to meet the Musketeers, and oh boy, I was really excited about meeting the Musketeers.
Yeah.
And we all clicked. They liked me and I liked them. And so I met Annette, and Sherry and Bobby and Tommy and Doreen and Sugar. It was great. And we had such a great time. And Cubby and Karen. Oh my God, we had such a wonderful time. So it was, and I think about it, it's like, wow, I sat in the living room watching them on TV. Who knew that one day I'd be sitting in the ballroom and they're rehearsing to get ready to go to the Disneyland convention, and I'm making all of their arrangements and everything. And then I meet Spin and Marty, and
Yeah.
oh my God, it was just amazing. And
childhood friends.
Oh God, childhood friends. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
We had a good time. It was great.
And long before she was made a Disney legend, she was made an honorary Musketeer.
Yes.
Oh, by them.
By them, yes.
Wow, that's special.
That's
That is
special. Yeah, that is very special. That's
like
awesome.
I said, you grew up with them. They were childhood friends, even though you didn't know each other.
Right, we didn't, right. But they were wonderful. And we had such a wonderful relationship. And I still keep in contact with them to check on them and make sure, to see how they're doing. Yeah.
I met a couple of them, and they're really delightful people.
Yes, they are.
My dad used to play ping pong with them at the studio when they
Really?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this and I want to keep going, but I want to hear this, Tim. You had me write Martha B with an exclamation point. You got to give me you got to give me that story. You got to tell us what that's about.
Well, as I said, our phone calls were peculiar at best at the beginning of every call. And so she would call me and I would answer the phone, hello, and she'd say, who is this? It's like, you called me. So, it was just chaos right off the bat. And so through the years, Martha and I have known each other 35, 40 years. Through the years, we always had some kind of joking way of answering the phone with each other.
Yeah.
And so through this book project, I would call her and just go, Martha B, like get her attention right off the bat. So we were on the Disney Vacation Club members only cruise back in late May, early June. And we did a couple of presentations together about the upcoming book. And I was kind of explaining to people how you properly pronounce Martha's name. And everybody kind of looked at me like, well, it's Martha Blanding. How hard can that be? I said, no. You got to do this right. I said, it's Martha, capital B, exclamation point, but you have to pronounce the exclamation point. So it's Martha B. We probably had like 200 people in each presentation. I had 200 people yelling, Martha B. And so the funny thing is, we're in the Barcelona airport, and we kind of, both groups kind of took an extended stay to Paris. And we're in the Barcelona airport, and Martha, like 4 or 5 people at different times while we're in the airport yell across the way, Martha B. I thought to myself,
you guys are siblings, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely that brother-sister relationship there, without a doubt. Oh my goodness. So your takeaway from everything, Martha, your takeaway from 50 years with Disney, what are you going to remember most? What's the thing that is just going to stand out to you that was amazing in your career?
Becoming a Disney legend. Because it's something that, after working with and I worked with mostly all of the Disney legends. Yeah. And after to get to know them and how important it was and what it meant to become a Disney legend, I just didn't think that it would be bestowed on me. And it's not that I didn't think I was good enough, but I just didn't, because of what they did. And, you know, I just, and I'm fine, because I had other things and accomplishments that I had done, you know, and I was being recognized for it, and I was fine.
Yeah.
But when I got the telephone call to tell me that they are making me a Disney legend, I was speechless. And I am never speechless. Never speechless.
Tim can attest that.
So becoming a Disney legend, and just, you know, being able, the accomplishments that I made while I was working at the Walt Disney Company, it's just, I did those. My plan wasn't to go there to do those things. My plan was to go there to do a job that I thought, to do the right thing and to do a good job. What my parents taught me, to always put my best foot forward, and you never know who's watching you. So and also to understand, we all make mistakes, okay? Nobody is perfect, but you learn. What you want to do is learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
Okay. And then after you learn from them, then let it go. Move on.
Yeah.
Keep going. You know, keep going. So I am not perfect, and I made mistakes, but I didn't let it hold me down. I didn't let it. I kept going. You know.
It didn't define you. They didn't define you.
They did not define me, and the rest is history. So I have met some amazing people, internally and externally. And I would not change that for nothing in the world. And like I said at the end of my speech, I had an amazing career at the Walt Disney Company, and I would do it all over again.
Yes.
Yeah. And
that's amazing. That's beautiful. That's the way it should be.
Forever, anything in the future, you are now Disney legend Martha Bland. And that's your title. That's your new extended name, Disney legend Martha Bland. So you have to get used to that. Don't forget that.
Hold on. She did tell me, you know, because she is now Disney legend Martha Blanding designate, right? That's her title now. Yeah. And she said, well, it wouldn't be bad if it was like Oscar winning Martha Blanding. I don't know what she has up her sleeve, or Emmy Award winner Martha Blanding, or Nobel laureate Martha Blanding, or Pulitzer Prize winner Martha Blanding. I don't know.
Pulitzer Prize winning Martha Blanding. There you go. See, you can have that one.
She still has a lot in her, so we just need to wait. It's going to come out, right, Martha?
You're right.
Like Gail said, Disney legend Martha B.
Thank you, Gail. Yeah. Guys, if I can again make a little subtle plug.
Absolutely.
somebody yesterday asked me, how is this book different from my other books in my Disney library? Because they were waffling on whether they should buy the book.
Yeah.
And I said, look, there are a lot of there are many great Disney books out there.
Yes.
Many great biographies of people who worked for Disney. They're terrific. This book is just different. Not to say better, because they're all special in their own right. But this is a different Disney book, because I can't think of anybody else who has been witness to so many changes in our society, who has been personally affected by those changes,
Yeah.
and at the same time ran concurrently with all the different history and changes at Disney, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very unique story, and it's a very American story.
Yes.
And I say that because, as we touched on just a little bit earlier, is that, we all have families, some of us go back longer than others here in the States and all of that. But I think Martha's story in particular is very, very American. Her parents were high school sweethearts. They grew up in the Great Depression. These two young kids growing up in North Carolina during the Great Depression, which basically meant no future.
Yeah.
Her dad becomes one of the great Pullman porters on the railroad and crisscrossed the country. He's coming out of North Carolina and sees New York and Chicago and San Francisco and Seattle. It's like there's another world out there. Brings his wife out to the West Coast with no prospects of jobs, none, right? And they end up working for Hollywood celebrities and Estelle Doheny, and just work hard and raise 4 great kids and imbue them with, great morals and things, and off they go. And I just think it's a great American success story. It's a great Disney story.
Yeah.
So it's multifaceted. And again, I'm not saying it's better than anybody else's biography. That's just silly. But it's a unique story. And I think it's an important story. So, if you like Disney, if you're into Disney, you'll love it. If you're into American history, you'll love it. So, I think, and again, I was just a facilitator. It's Martha's book, or Martha, wherever she is on this.
There she is.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, you know what, with her, it like you said, it's an American story. It's not just for Black, white, Hispanic, it's for everybody. It's a human story, and getting to talk to her, getting to meet her, she's amazing. Now I realize why everybody loved her. I'd heard stories about how much everybody loves Martha Blanding. Martha Blanding's the best. Getting to meet her, absolutely, she's amazing.
Vince,
I'm glad you said that, Vince.
It's Martha B.
And I'm glad you said that, because I say, forget the fact that I'm a Black woman that wrote this book, because it applies to anybody.
Sure.
Because we've all have challenges, racial challenges. Even a white person and a woman have those racial challenges. So it applies to everybody.
Sure.
But the thing is, do not let it get you down. You keep on going. Don't let it define you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great words to live by.
Yes.
Great words to live by.
Thank you, Leslie.
We appreciate your time so much today. I can't thank you
after a tiring day yesterday too.
After a long day. Me and Matt want to know. We want to go see you in person. We want to get the book and have you both sign it. So I want to find out when you guys, is there any place coming up that we can go and see you and purchase the book? Again, that's, Groundbreaking Magic. It's releasing Tuesday, guys. So again, be on the lookout for that. Upcoming, any particular plans for public signings?
Let us do this. Like Tim said, that they're putting our schedule together. So we will let you know. We don't have any dates for you right now, because the one that's coming up on October 1st is an internal thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So we can't invite you to that. But
yeah,
let's send you some information later on.
Okay, perfect. Absolutely. And we will post that in our groups for all of you guys. That way you guys know where they're at. And again, we'd like to invite you both to November 10th, the Sam McKim presentation. We'd love to have you both there and talk about Sam and kind of do your thing. So,
And we'll have to actually have you come by the house and spend a little time with Mom too, Martha. And
Great.
Tim, you're more than welcome to come too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
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 She'd
Thank
love
you.
to see you, Martha.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you both very much, and we hope you have an amazing Sunday. We appreciate your time, and Martha, looking forward to seeing you again in the future. Tim, pleasure meeting you. Thank you both so very much.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
again, Groundbreaking Magic Tuesday. This Tuesday coming up. Get out there, buy it, read it. Maybe Martha and Tim will be coming up somewhere. You can get them to sign it. But again, thank you, everybody. Matt, as always, thank you. And
Yes.
we will see you all again next weekend. Have a great week, everybody. Take care. God bless.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.